My name is Tom. I was born in a beautiful small village. Our village had green fields and tall trees. The people were kind and friendly. When I was young, I didn't know English. In my village, we spoke our local language. We were happy and content. One day, an old man came to our village. He told us many stories. One story was about a boy who learned English. The boy traveled the world, met many people, and had many adventures. I listened with wide eyes. I wanted to be like that boy. I decided to learn English, but I didn't know where to start. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The story of the boy who learned English stayed with me. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every night, I would dream of traveling the world, meeting new people, and having adventures. But every morning, I would wake up in my small village, feeling stuck and unsure of how to begin my journey. One day, my teacher at the village school noticed my interest. Her name was Mrs. Lee, and she was one of the few people in our village who could speak English. She approached me after class and said, "Tom, I've noticed you seem very interested in learning English. Is that true?" I nodded eagerly. "Yes, Mrs. Lee, I want to learn English and travel the world, just like the boy in the old man's story." Mrs. Lee smiled warmly. "That's wonderful, Tom. Learning a new language is not easy. But with determination and hard work, you can do it. I can help you get started." From that day on, Mrs. Lee began to teach me English after school. She started with the basics, like the alphabet and simple words. It was challenging at first, but I was determined. I practiced every day, repeating words and phrases until they felt familiar. Mrs. Lee was patient and encouraging, and she always found ways to make learning fun. As the weeks passed, I started to understand more and more. I could introduce myself, ask for directions, and talk about my family and village. I felt a sense of accomplishment and pride in my progress. I knew I still had a long way to go, but I was on my way. One afternoon, while practicing with Mrs. Lee, I asked her, "How did you learn English?" Mrs. Lee paused for a moment and then said, "When I was young, I had a dream of becoming a teacher, but to achieve that dream, I needed to learn English. So I worked hard just like you. I read books, listened to English radio, and practiced with anyone who would listen. It wasn't easy, but I never gave up." Her words inspired me. If Mrs. Lee could do it, so could I. I decided to take my learning to the next level. I asked Mrs. Lee if she had any books in English that I could borrow. She smiled and handed me a small worn-out book. "This was the first book I read in English," she said. "Take good care of it." The book was called The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. I carefully opened it and began to read. At first it was difficult. The words seemed strange and unfamiliar, but I persisted, looking up words I didn't understand and practicing my pronunciation. As I read, I felt a connection to Tom Sawyer, the mischievous boy who had his own adventures. I admired his curiosity and bravery. I wanted to be brave like him and face new challenges without fear. The more I read, the more my English improved. I started to think in English and even dream in English. One day, while reading in the village square, a group of children gathered around me. They were curious about the book I was reading. "What is it about?" one of them asked. I smiled and began to tell them the story of Tom Sawyer and his adventures. As I spoke, I realized how much my English had improved. I could express myself clearly and share the excitement of the story with others. The children were captivated by the story, and soon, they wanted to learn English too. I became their unofficial teacher, sharing what I had learned from Mrs. Lee and the books I read. Together, we practiced speaking, reading, and writing in English. It was a wonderful feeling to pass on what I had learned and to see others excited about learning too. As time went on, I continued to improve my English skills. Mrs. Lee introduced me to more books, and I started to listen to English songs and watch English movies. I discovered a whole new world through language. My dream of traveling and meeting new people felt more achievable than ever. One day, a visitor came to our village. He was a traveler from a distant country, and he spoke English. When I heard him speaking, I gathered my courage and approached him. "Hello," I said in English. "Welcome to our village. Thank you for welcoming me. It's nice to meet someone who speaks English here." We struck up a conversation, and I told him about my journey to learn English. He was impressed by my progress and encouraged me to keep going. "Learning a new language opens so many doors," he said. "You can connect with people from all over the world and experience different cultures." His words stayed with me. I realized that learning English was not just about speaking a new language. It was about connecting with others and broadening my horizons. I felt more determined than ever to achieve my dreams. Years passed, and I continued to work hard on my English. I eventually moved to a larger town to attend a school with more resources and opportunities to practice. It was a big change from my small village, but I adapted quickly. I made friends from different backgrounds and learned about their cultures and languages. One day, I received a letter from an international organization. They had heard about my efforts to learn English and my passion for sharing knowledge with others. They offered me a scholarship to study abroad and further improve my language skills. I was overjoyed. This was the opportunity one had been dreaming of. With the support of my family, friends, and teachers, I accepted the scholarship and traveled to a new country. It was both exciting and challenging to be in a place where English was the primary language. I immersed myself in my studies, attended language workshops, and participated in cultural exchange programs. During my time abroad, I traveled to different countries, met amazing people, and experienced incredible adventures. I visited famous landmarks, tried new foods, and learned about different customs and traditions. Each experience enriched my understanding of the world and deepened my appreciation for diversity. One of the most memorable moments was when I gave a speech at an international conference. I shared my story of learning English and how it had changed my life. I spoke about the importance of education and the power of determination. The audience was moved by my journey, and I received a standing ovation. It was a proud moment that I would never forget. After completing my studies, I returned to my village. I was greeted with warmth and excitement by my family and friends. They were proud of what I had achieved and eager to hear about my adventures. I felt a sense of fulfillment knowing that I had made my dream a reality. Back in my village, I decided to give back to the community that had supported me. I started an English learning center to help others who wanted to learn the language. I taught classes, organized language exchange programs, and provided resources for self-study. It was rewarding to see the positive impact on people's lives and to witness their progress. Through the English Learning Center, I met people of all ages who were eager to learn. Some were children with dreams of exploring the world, while others were adults looking to improve their job prospects. Each person had their own unique story and motivation. I was inspired by their dedication and resilience. One day, Mrs. Lee visited the center. She looked around with pride and said, "Tom, you've created something truly special here. You've become a beacon of hope and inspiration for our village." Her words meant the world to me. I thanked her for her guidance and support throughout my journey. Without her encouragement, I wouldn't have achieved my dreams. As the years went by, the English Learning Center continued to grow. We expanded our programs, invited guest speakers, and even collaborated with international organizations. Our village became known as a place where people could learn and thrive. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that learning English had been the key to unlocking countless opportunities. It had connected me with people from different backgrounds, allowed me to travel the world, and given me the tools to make a difference in my community. The story of the boy who learned English had come full circle. Today, I continue to teach and inspire others. I share my story with new generations, encouraging them to dream big and work hard. I remind them that with determination and the right support, they can achieve anything they set their minds to. Learning English was just the beginning of my journey. It opened doors to new experiences, friendships, and opportunities. It taught me the value of perseverance and the importance of giving back. And most importantly, it showed me that dreams can become reality with passion and dedication. As I stand in front of my students, I see the same spark of curiosity and excitement in their eyes that I once had. I know that they too will go on to achieve great things, and I am honored to be a part of their journey, just as Mrs. Lee was a part of mine. The story of the boy who learned English continues to inspire me every day. It reminds me that the world is full of possibilities and that we all have the power to create our own adventures. And as I look to the future, I am excited to see where my journey will take me. Years went by, and the English Learning Center became, and their resilience and determination were a constant source of inspiration for everyone at the center. Over time, our village became known for its inclusive and supportive community. People from different parts of the world came to visit and learn from our programs. The English Learning Center became a model for other communities, showcasing how education and cultural exchange could bridge gaps and foster understanding. One day, we received a visit from a group of educators and policymakers from various countries. They were interested in learning about our approach and implementing similar programs in their own communities. It was an honor to share our journey and the impact we had made. During their visit, we organized a series of workshops and discussions, focusing on best practices and innovative strategies for language learning and cultural exchange. The visitors were impressed by the dedication and passion of our staff and volunteers. They were particularly moved by the stories of our students, who shared how learning English had changed their lives. One of the visitors, a professor from a prestigious university, approached me after a workshop. "Tom," she said, "your work here is truly remarkable. Have you ever considered expanding your programs on a larger scale? There are many communities that could benefit from your approach." Her words planted a seed in my mind. I realized that while we had made a significant impact in our village, there were countless other places where our programs could make a difference. The idea of expanding our reach and helping more people was both exciting and daunting. I discussed the idea with Maria and our team. We all agreed that while it would be a challenging endeavor, it was a worthwhile one. We decided to start by partnering with organizations and communities in nearby regions, sharing our resources and expertise to help them establish their own learning centers. Our first partnership was with a town located a few hours away from our village. The town had a diverse population, including many immigrants and refugees who were eager to learn English and integrate into their new community. We worked closely with local leaders and educators to set up a learning center, providing training and support to their staff. The process was not without challenges. We had to adapt our programs to fit the specific needs and context of the town. There were logistical issues to address, such as securing funding, finding suitable facilities, and recruiting volunteers. But with perseverance and collaboration, we overcame these obstacles and successfully established the new center. The impact was immediate. People from different backgrounds came together to learn, share, and grow. The center became a vibrant hub of activity, fostering a sense of community and belonging. Seeing the positive change reinforced our belief in the power of education and cultural exchange. Buoyed by our success, we continue to expand our reach. We established partnerships with communities in different regions, each with its own unique challenges and opportunities. In each place, we adapted our programs to meet the local needs, always keeping our core principles of inclusivity, empowerment, and cultural exchange at the forefront. One of our most ambitious projects was in a remote area where access to education and resources was limited. The community faced numerous challenges, including poverty, lack of infrastructure, and social isolation. We knew that establishing a learning center there would require significant effort and commitment. Our team worked tirelessly, collaborating with local leaders and organizations to understand the community's needs and develop tailored solutions. We secured funding, built facilities, and recruited dedicated volunteers. It was a true community effort, with everyone pitching in to make the project a success. When the center finally opened, the response was overwhelming. People of all ages and backgrounds flocked to the center, eager to learn and connect. The impact went beyond language learning. The center became a beacon of hope and opportunity, providing vocational training, health education, and support services. One of the most inspiring moments was when an elderly woman named Fatima approached me. She had never had the opportunity to attend school, but she was determined to learn how to read and write. With the help of our volunteers, she made remarkable progress, and the joy on her face when she read her first sentence was indescribable. Fatima's story was a testament to the transformative power of education. It reminded us why we were doing this work and reinforced our commitment to expanding our reach and making a difference in more communities. As our network of learning centers grew, we also focused on building a global community of educators, volunteers, and learners. We organized international conferences, online forums, and exchange programs, fostering connections and sharing knowledge across borders. These initiatives created a sense of solidarity and collaboration, strengthening our collective efforts to promote education and cultural understanding. One of the highlights was an international conference we hosted in our village. Educators, students, and policymakers from around the world gathered to share their experiences and discuss innovative approaches to language learning and community development. The conference was a celebration of our shared commitment to education and cultural exchange, and it was an incredible opportunity to learn from one another. During the conference, I had the privilege of meeting Dr. Kim, a renowned linguist and educator. She had dedicated her career to promoting language education and had developed innovative methodologies that were being adopted worldwide. Dr. Kim was impressed by our work and offered to collaborate on a research project to study the impact of our programs. The research project was a significant undertaking, but it provided valuable insights into the effectiveness of our approach. We gathered data, conducted interviews, and analyzed the outcomes of our programs. The findings were overwhelmingly positive, demonstrating the tangible benefits of language learning and cultural exchange for individuals and communities. The research also highlighted areas for improvement and growth. We used these insights to refine our programs, develop new strategies, and enhance our impact. The collaboration with Dr. Kim was a turning point, providing a solid foundation for our future initiatives and reinforcing our commitment to evidence-based practices. As we continue to expand our reach, we also faced new challenges. The world was changing rapidly, with technological advancements, social shifts, and global events shaping the landscape of education and cultural exchange. We had to adapt and innovate to stay relevant and effective. One of the key changes was the integration of digital technology into our programs. We developed online platforms and resources, making our courses and materials accessible to a wider audience. This was particularly important for reaching remote and underserved communities, where access to education was limited. We also embraced new methodologies, such as blended learning, gamification, and interactive storytelling. These approaches made learning more engaging and effective, catering to different learning styles and preferences. Our students could now learn at their own pace, access resources anytime and anywhere, and participate in virtual exchanges with peers from around the world. The digital transformation also opened up new opportunities for collaboration and innovation. We partnered with tech companies, educational institutions, and non-profit organizations to develop cutting-edge solutions and expand our reach. These collaborations brought fresh perspectives and expertise, enhancing the quality and impact of our programs. One of the most exciting developments was a virtual exchange program we launched in partnership with a university in the United States. Students from our learning centers could participate in online classes, cultural exchanges, and collaborative projects with their peers in the U.S. The program provided a unique opportunity for cross-cultural learning and collaboration, fostering mutual understanding and respect. The virtual exchange program was a resounding success. Students from different backgrounds and cultures worked together on projects, shared their experiences, and built lasting friendships. The program also provided valuable skills and knowledge, preparing them for a globalized world. As our programs continue to evolve and expand, I often reflected on the journey that had brought us here. From a small village with limited resources, we had grown into a global network of learning centers, reaching thousands of people and making a tangible impact on their lives. It was a testament to the power of education, community, and collaboration. I also thought about the people who had been part of this journey, each contributing in their own way. Mrs. Lee, who had sparked my passion for learning and guided me in my early days. Maria, whose enthusiasm and dedication had brought new energy to our programs. Amal, Fatima, Aisha, and countless others who had inspired us with their stories and resilience. Their stories were a reminder of the importance of human connection and the impact we can have on one another's lives. They reinforced the belief that education is not just about acquiring knowledge but about empowering individuals, fostering understanding, and building a better world. Looking ahead, I knew that there were still many challenges to overcome and opportunities to explore. The world was constantly changing, and we needed to stay agile and innovative to continue making a difference. But I was confident in our ability to adapt and thrive, driven by our shared vision and commitment. One of our future goals was to establish a global network of learning hubs, each tailored to the specific needs and context of its community. These hubs would serve as centers of excellence, providing education, resources, and support to empower individuals and communities. They would also foster collaboration and exchange, creating a global community of learners and changemakers. We also aim to strengthen our partnerships with educational institutions, governments, and organizations. By working together, we could leverage our collective expertise and resources to scale our impact and address global challenges. These partnerships would be crucial in driving systemic change and promoting inclusive and equitable education for all. Another key focus was sustainability and resilience. We wanted to ensure that our programs were not only effective but also sustainable in the long term. This involved building local capacity, securing funding, and developing innovative solutions to address emerging challenges. It also meant fostering a culture of continuous learning and improvement, always striving to do better and make a greater impact. As we embarked on this next chapter, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey we had taken and the people who had been part of it. It was a journey filled with challenges and triumphs, setbacks and breakthroughs. But above all, it was a journey of hope and transformation. Standing at the threshold of new possibilities, I looked back on the path that had led us here. From a small village learning center to a global network of educational hubs, our mission had always been driven by a simple yet profound belief: that education can change lives.